Good evening to one and all. In this video, I will be speaking on a very burning issue which is a part and parcel of environmental law, that is pollution. Environmental law is a collective term which basically describes the network of treaties, statutes, regulations, and customary laws addressing the effect of human activity on the natural environment. Environmental law, when we speak of these things, we have to know that there is a very close relationship between environment and life. Destruction of environment leads to destruction of all living creatures, including human beings. Overall production or exploitation of natural resources, nuclear radiations, industrial waste, industrial accidents, brutal exploitation of forest, indiscriminating, discriminate acquiring which takes place, pollution of rivers, pollution of water sources, and side by side, there is a rapid increase of air and noise pollution, which obviously these are some of the contributing factors for environmental degradation. Besides that, global warming, ozone depletion, pollution are some of the negative effects of existing development strategies which are badly affecting the human life. So, when we speak of pollution, basically what is mean by pollution? Pollution is the introduction of substances or energy that causes adverse change in the environment and living entities. So, pollution need not always be caused by chemical substances such as particulates like smoke or dust, forms of energies such as even sound, heat, light. These also play a very vital role in causing pollution. These substances that cause pollution are basically called as pollutant. So, pollution, even in the smallest amount, in a slightest amount, impacts the ecological balance. Pollutants can make their way up the food chains and eventually find their way inside the human body. So, pollution, if we speak of, there are of different kinds. We say there are different kinds of pollution which are either caused by, natural events like forest fires, or it may be man made activities like excess use of motor vehicles, factories, nuclear waste, etc. So we can classify this term pollution into various aspects, categories rather, we can say, like air pollution, then which is basically called caused by way of even natural occurrence like volcanoes, wildfires, even lightning and deforestation. Besides, it may be caused due to oil and gases which are left out in the air. Excessive mass metropolitan cities also play a vital role in causing air pollution. Then, if you speak of mobile resources like airplanes, trucks, buses, motorcycles, then if you speak of stationaries like industries, power plants, sewage treatment, so obviously these are the factors which lead to air pollution. Then, speaking of as to water pollution, then there are various causes of water pollution. It may be because of acid rain, which is caused due to the pollution of air, which ultimately leads to causing of acid rains, basically in the areas uh, uh, where there are number of refineries or factories. Like very famous case law for the same is the Taj Mahal case, which was a landmark case, which in which it was stated that the marble of Taj Mahal, which is white in color, is ultimately changing its color in yellowish. Why? Because that is again due to acid rains. Then obviously industrial wastes which are thrown into the river, then effluents from savage works, or oil pollution, oil spilling which takes place, thermal pollutions for cooling towers, that all things leads to water pollution. Then, speaking of soil pollution, soil pollution, there are many causes of soil pollution. It may be accidental spills or acid rain, industrial accidents, deforestation, nuclear waste, intensive farming, mining and other industries. It may be landfills or illegal dumping, then buried waste, or you can even speak of disposal of coal ash, electronic waste. So these are various ways as to which leads to soil pollution. When we speak of noise pollution, the common sources of noise pollution can be stated as, they are like aeroplanes and airports, the noise which comes out of the aeroplanes. Then we can say amplified or piped in music which has been put on in a very loud way manner. Obviously emergency vehicles, like whether it is fire brigades or whether they are ambulances, so the horning of it, that also leads to the noise pollution. Then traffic, obviously, yes, traffic, motor vehicles, that leads to noise pollution as well as air pollution. Then construction and industrial activities, where that also leads to noise pollution. So these are some of the very common features of noise pollution. Then speaking of the light pollution, we speak of light pollution. Light pollution is due to excess, it is caused due to sky glows which we see in the night, in especially in metros. Then light trespass, it may be due to overlightning or glare. So these are some of the examples of light pollution. Then speaking of thermal pollution. Now thermal pollution is defined as a sudden increase or decrease in temperature of a natural body of waters, which may be oceans, lakes, river, or ponds by human influences. Now, basically, where thermal plants have been installed. So when to cool down whatever the normally it occurs when the plant takes in water from the natural resources, and after the heating process is completed, it is put back with an altered temperature. So hot water is left into the rivers, which alter the natural temperature of the river, and there may be a kind of thermal pollution. Then we speak of radioactive pollutions, which may be caused due to nuclear weapons, atom bombs, bomb blasts. So these are all a kind of living out the radioactive elements into the air, and these are some of the basic causes of types of air pollution. Speaking of a very important fact that environmental pollution is a global problem. Now, why it is a global problem? Because environmental pollution has now evolved and grown to be a global problem. The very existence of man basically depends on nature. Tremendous change in environmental human environment has taken place. It has changed the ecolaws, and it has created imbalance between the human life and the environment. Now, excessive use of natural resources also obviously lead to the imbalance in environmental pollution. So basically, the life of a human being, it depends upon ecological balance and environmental protection. So, if a human being protects the environment and ultimately he promotes the ecological development, automatically an environmental free from pollution may be developed. And with that development of living condition of human beings, the living organisms will be developed. So I think that there is a need to protect environment, and absolutely not even by one or two citizens. Individually, we every person has to make the efforts for the same, and we have to make efforts to maintain the ecological balance by each and every human being. Thank you.